The 7-star Fairy Tera Primarina raid's coming back this weekend, so let's talk about it. And yes, I know this video should have gone up last weekend, but life kinda conspired against me, so here we are. First and foremost, let's talk about its ability and moveset. Primarina's hidden ability is Liquid Voice, which means that any sound-based move that it used becomes a water move, which would usually mean it gets a stab bonus to its damage. That really doesn't apply to any of Primarina's moves here, so you don't have to worry about that part. Starting off with its main stab attack, Primarina is rocking Moonblast. Because of Primarina's typing, and Terra type in this scenario, Moonblast has a 2x stab modifier, so it does the most damage out of any move Primarina has in its arsenal. And its second most used move, Sparkling Aria. Primarina's signature move, which has the side effect of curing burn on any of its targets, which once again doesn't really apply here. But I guess if you're running a Pokemon with Guts as an ability, it wouldn't be able to stay burned and therefore wouldn't be getting its damage bonus. But once again, I don't think any Pokemon with Guts as an ability is any good in this scenario anyway, so that shouldn't matter. Primarina also comes rocking Psychic to deal with any poison types you might be sending out. And potentially Primarina's most annoying attack, Sing. May not technically be an actual attack, but oh god does it spam this a lot. And also manages to land it way more frequently than it probably should. Curse the Tera Raid bosses and their amazing luck with RNG. As a side note, because Sing is technically a sound-based move, Liquid Voice turns it into a water move. Which once again doesn't really matter here, but it's cool to note that any Pokemon with an ability like Water Absorb, Storm Drain, Dry Skin, or anything else that makes them immune to water moves, will make them immune to Sing in this scenario. So something to think about when you're building for this raid. Moving on to attacks that it only uses as scripted actions, Primarina's Come Rockin' Encore. Slightly annoying to get hit by that and get locked into the same move multiple times, but hey, if you can time it right and use Sword Stance or something like that immediately beforehand. Hey, you were probably doing that for the next 3 turns anyway. And last but not least, Primarina's also coming with Surf for a water stab move that's going to hit everybody. Speaking of Primarina's scripted actions, here's what to look out for during the raid. Primarina's shield will go up at 80% remaining HP or 75% of the timer remaining, which means you probably have about 3 to 4 turns to do whatever you need to before the shield goes up. However, in the long run, it's probably not going to matter because Primarina is going to reset its own stats with 85% of the timer remaining, and yours as well at 80% remaining, making it a lot harder to get those stat debuff moves in there and honestly not making it all that worthwhile to do so. Speaking of things that Primarina does to mess you up just before the shield goes up, unlike most 7-star Tera Raid bosses, Primarina will reduce your Tera Orb charge. It's going to do this with about 90% of the timer remaining, meaning your first attack isn't going to matter either towards your Tera gauge, making it almost impossible to build up properly before the shield goes up. That being said, on most builds, it's going to be pretty optimal just to drop 4 attacks right at the beginning of the raid and get your Tera gauge maxed, as that's going to get you the biggest advantage in the long run here. Immediately after the shield goes up, Primarina will use Encore on one member of your team, which means that that Pokemon's going to get locked into the move they just used for the next couple turns. So when the shield's about to go up, make sure you're using a move that you don't mind spamming. At 50% HP remaining, Primarina will use Surf. It's not exactly the strongest move in its arsenal, but it's still going to do a fair amount of damage because it has that stab bonus behind it. And with 35% HP remaining, Primarina is going to reset its own stats once again. Alright, now that we got all that information out of the way, let's get to discussing tactics. Fairy type's main weaknesses are Steel and Poison. However, with Primarina running Psychic as an attack, Poison types probably aren't all that good here because they're going to get hit by super effective damage consistently. However, on top of being weak to Steel, Steel types are also resistant to 2 out of 3 of Primarina's attacking types, meaning that Steel types are going to have the greater advantage here in this raid. And even though Primarina has a pretty high special attack stat rate out of the gate, you don't really have to worry about your defense or lowering its attack too much, because Primarina comes with no way to raise its own stats. Which means Primarina's attack power is going to be pretty consistent over the course of the raid, unless of course you get really unlucky and Moonblast ends up lowering your special defense, but that's going to be rare. But that being said, all in all, the most annoying move that Primarina can use is Sing. And in my experience, that hits a lot more than it probably should. So come prepared with a plan to stop your Pokemon from being put to sleep, or else you're going to have a rough time of it. Using your item slot for a berry is probably not advised here though. That's only going to stop you from being put to sleep one time, and it's going to keep spamming that move over and over and over again. Make sure to make use of moves like Misty Terrain, Electric Terrain, and Safeguard to stop your Pokemon from being put to sleep. And remember, forcing a burn on your Pokemon is not a solution because Sparkling Aria will cure that. There's also a number of Pokemon with abilities that stop them from being put to sleep, so make sure to go through those if you're making your own build. And lastly, my final tip for making your own build here. You're going to do more damage with a physical attacker here than you will with a special, considering Primarina has a fairly high special defense to begin with. But also, you're better off raising your own stats than trying to lower Primarina's. Primarina resets its own stats twice, but only resets yours once very early in the raid. So it's entirely possible to hit it with 4 attacks right up front, get your Tera gauge up, and then start boosting after it resets you. But I know a lot of people aren't here for help with their own raid builds, so here are my raid builds for taking on the 7-star Fairy Tera Primarina. Starting off with my first build, we have Empoleon. I've used Empoleon previously on this channel to solo a raid, but this one's for teamwork. Coming along with Metal Sound to lower Primarina's special defense, Flash Cannon to do the majority of its damage, and Steel Beam for those moments when you're at full health and want to hit as hard as possible. The Steel Beam may eat half of your max HP, but as long as Primarina's special defense is lowered the whole way, Shell Bell will recover all of your health back. And for a little bit of passive healing, it also comes with Aqua Ring. As an added bonus, if you do happen to have your special defense lowered by Moonblast, the competitive ability will go off and boost your special attack, meaning you do more damage. Meanwhile, on the sports side of things, we're going to start off with... Usual joke aside, this build actually is a little different than usual. Though realistically, all I've done is replace its attacking move with Electric Terrain. Meaning that the person running the Blissey not only has to keep track of light screen turns, but also has to make sure Electric Terrain stays up so their entire party doesn't fall asleep. So even if you let it lapse for a turn, it probably doesn't matter too much because the healer ability has a chance to wake up your teammates anyway. And for those who aren't aware of this build, Life Dew and Helping Hand, just spam those and your teammates are going to do fine. Bringing in a mixed offense and support set, we have Perrserker. With the Steely Spirit ability boosting the steel damage of you and all of your teammates, this Pokemon is great to just have on the field. Add to that Sword Stance to boost your damage and Iron Head for your main offense. It also comes equipped with Metal Burst, which is effectively a Steel-type Mirror Coat, meaning that any attack that hits Perrserker is going to get thrown right back at Primarina with double the damage, with super effective typing. And since you're already boosting your teammates' damage anyway, I threw Helping Hand on here just cuz. For a secondary support build here, we have Bronzong. Bronzong comes equipped with Light Screen to lower the incoming damage and Helping Hand to boost your teammates' damage, and also Safeguard to protect your teammates from being put to sleep. Add to that Metal Sound so it can lower Primarina's special defense a little bit to help out your teammates more, and this build can help your teammates dish out a lot of damage. It's just minus a way to heal your teammates, unfortunately. Getting back to another offensive build, we have Tinkaton. Resistant to every one of Primarina's attacks except for Sparkling Aria and Surf, Primarina can survive a bunch of hits on top of dealing damage. With Light Screen to reduce the incoming damage if nobody else has it, Swords Dance to boost its own damage, and Gigaton Hammer as its main offense, it's going to be doing a fair amount of damage to Primarina. But since Gigaton Hammer can only be used every second turn, your alternating attack is Skitter Smack, which granted isn't going to do a whole lot of damage, but it has the extra bonus effect of lowering Primarina's special attack. So you alternate between lowering the raid boss's attack power, and then smashing it as hard as you can with a hammer. This is truly one of the most oddly effective things I've ever made for a Tera Raid. But, as per usual, sometimes it's hard to get a team together, and online randos are sometimes a pain to deal with. As such, here's my build for soloing the 7-star Primarina raid with... Gholdengo. Now, Gholdengo has appeared on this channel many a time, but this was its first time as a solo build. And I'm featuring it today because Gholdengo is one of the only Pokemon in this game that can stop itself from being put to sleep, while also dishing out super effective stab damage. No, seriously, I looked into every single Pokemon that has an ability that stops them from being put to sleep, and the only one of those that is a Steel type is Gholdengo. What are the odds? Anyways, just start the raid with a Light Screen to reduce the incoming damage, then quickly drop 2 Nasty Plots and make it rain 4 times. Now, somewhere towards the end of that, the shield will go up, but don't let that interrupt you. At this point of the plan, if you're low health, you should just let Primarina KO you, because it'll be a lot easier to just come back and start blasting. But if it's been spamming Sing on you for no reason for the last little while, you might as well just drop 3 Nasty Plots and keep going. Make sure during all of this that you're resetting the Light Screen, because Primarina will do a fair amount of damage to you if that's down. But once you've used Nasty Plot 3 times and Gholdengo's at +6 special attack, you start playing it by ear every turn. If you have max HP at the beginning of the turn, use Steel Beam. It'll chunk away half of your HP, but Shell Bell should heal you immediately. If you're running a little low on health, though, don't chance it too much and just use Make It Rain. Make It Rain does reduce your special attack by 1 stage every single time you use it, so make sure you're offsetting that by using Nasty Plot again after you've done it. But with the sleep immunity and the insane amount of damage going into Primarina, Primarina goes down. Thank you guys for watching. If you like my Tera Raid content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel. And if you ever need help with the 7-star Tera Raid event, we go live on my Twitch channel at 9:30 p.m. on the Thursday night it comes out at twitch.tv/IXIStudios, where me and my friend Overkill will run the raid multiple times in order to get it done. And we're never opposed to someone in chat joining in, getting the raid done with us. I even come prepared with a list of raid builds just in case you don't know what to do yet. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Peace.